Well, we have some really exciting news to share today. A new primetime newscast is coming to cable on WGN America, and it's going to feature stories by Nexstar's 5,400 local journalists in 110 local newsrooms, including our own here at WTAJ. It's called News Nation and premieres September the 1st. Joining us now from Chicago in their newsroom set are anchors Joe Donlin and Rob Nelson. We appreciate you guys spending some time with us today.
Hi, Maggie. Thanks for having us.
Well, I always like to set the scene a little bit. So can you guys first show us around? I know you got a brand new set. It's absolutely beautiful. We'd love to see it.
Yeah, the paint's still drying.
I know. We love it. I mean, it's like new car smell overload in here. It's fantastic. We're actually upstairs in the middle of our newsroom, so this is kind of our secondary set upstairs. Downstairs, we're actually going to do the main show. We're doing some finishing touches on that right now. That's where we'll be Monday through Friday next month when the show starts. But as you can tell, a gorgeous spot, brand new. What I love is that whole back wall, because that gets at the essence of what we're doing here journalistically. The newsroom's divided into those sections of the country, and a team of journalists kind of works in each of those stations to make sure we have each region of the country well covered. And that's going to be one of the things that's going to set us apart, is that we're going to get some stories into this national newscast from local communities all around the country that may otherwise have been overlooked or forgotten. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, you have to make sure you tune in on September 1st, because the new studio downstairs is just a thing of beauty. It's spectacular. 2 stories, and it is really something to see. I wish we could show it to you right now, but Rob is finishing the floors later this afternoon.
Of course.
My work here is never done. I need a new agent.
It is certainly beautiful. And right there in the newsroom, I mean, that's where all the hard work and that's where all the magic happens. We're, of course, inching closer and closer to the start of your national newscast, News Nation. September 1st, you're going to blink and it's going to be here before you know it. Why don't we first explain to everyone what News Nation is all about and what people can expect to see?
Well, I think what this News Nation is all about really is a 3-hour primetime newscast with news and not opinion. And that's sort of become our mission here, and it's what we're hanging our hat on. And it's getting a lot of attention because not necessarily is it new, it's actually old, right? It's journalism without opinion. It's just not something you see that much in primetime. And what we heard from several people was, I don't want you to tell me how to think, just tell me what happened. And so that's what this is really based on. And every day at 11 o'clock in the morning, we get together and we have our content and our editorial meeting, and we look at all of these zones that Rob mentioned earlier, and we populate the best stories from each region of the country. And when you cast your net out like that and pull it back every day, it's amazing the amount of content that you have. And we've kind of gone from how are we going to fill 3 hours of news to how are we going to fit all this in?
Yeah, it's a great problem to have. And unlike most other national shows that you see, national news shows, we're not in New York, we're not in D.C., we're here in Chicago, coming to you live every night, 7 days a week, by the way. We have a weekend edition of the show as well from the heartland, and that makes a difference in terms of the kinds of stories that we're able to dig up and kind of give to the country here, stories otherwise may have been forgotten about or overlooked. So we're different on a lot of different levels here.
Wait, you're working 7 days a week?
Not me. No, there's a separate weekend. No.
Get that cleared up.
The floors are through the line.
I think I needed a new agent. That's
Right.
Well, of course, you know, news is 24/7. You know, speaking about working 7 days a week, news never stops. So how do you guys plan to also bring it to a digital level? Because, you know, it's 3-hour newscast, but we're also going to be seeing that on the digital front as well. Can you talk a little bit about this?
Well, sure. I mean, like every other newsroom in the country right now, there's certainly a lot of resources devoted to the digital team, and we have an exceptionally strong digital team here. So we're going to have the website, WGNAmerica.com, where also you can go put your zip code in, find out what channel we are, depending on your cable system. And number 2, we are going to have an app as well, and a very strong digital presence there. In fact, where we are in the newsroom, that set you saw a second ago, that's our kind of our digital desk. You'll be seeing a lot of that when you plug into the app. Right. So we're going to be on the air from 8 to 11 Eastern time, but digitally, it's a 24/7 operation.
Right, and in fact, we can see our digital team right here now off to the side in the newsroom, and if anything is happening, they'll be at that set right there, morning, noon, and night. As you mentioned, Maggie, 24/7, so anytime something's happening, you can dial into our News Nation Now app, and you'll know digitally anytime, because that's how a lot of people get their information right now. You'll get the bulk of our show, obviously, on WGN America, but anytime on digital.
And social media.
Yeah.
All right, and then I just have one final question for you guys. Obviously, news kind of starts on the local level. So how do you plan to use local stations for, say, if there's a story happening in Johnstown and Altoona, how do you guys plan to use that then in your newscasts?
Well, I think part of the thing is that the national perspective on news is that what we like to do is, in local news, you kind of take the big national story and find that there's a local angle on it. Well, we're kind of doing the reverse. We may see a story there in Altoona that we say, oh, that's fascinating, or that's interesting, or that could really fit into a larger piece about COVID or the election or this issue or that issue. So we're going to be kind of plucking of information from all the affiliates around the country to put it into a larger piece, or just kind of nationalizing the story. There's something that can benefit the country, I think, in every story, and that's kind of what we're going to dig for.
That's part of what happens every day editorially. As I said, we populate the best stories from around the country at our stations, and perhaps there's a story there in Altoona, or as another example, let's just say there's a great story in Oklahoma City or Memphis or any one of our other next star stations. We would either go to that reporter live or use the story that they put together for their station that day. And another example is our ability to tap into the East Coast stations, as we covered Isaias just this past week during our rehearsals. That gave us a great example and a great idea of how this will look on the air when it hits on September 1st. And the ability to have those resources at our fingertips was impressive.
All right, Joe, Rob, obviously you guys are very excited about launching this. We're really excited to see it as well, and we appreciate you spending some time with us today and look forward to watching you guys on News Nation.
Thanks so much for having us. We appreciate it. We're looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, thanks, Maggie.